Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, we're gonna do a John's Arcade gameplay review. And yes, I know what you're saying. You're saying, John, what are you doing? It's the new year. You're supposed to be putting out your year-end review. And yes, I know. And actually, I've been working on it a lot, and I want to take just a quick little break. I need to get away from this editing right now because I've been editing the year-end video, I kid you not, for 10 or 12 hours so far. And I'll give you just a little sneak peek here. But basically, this year I want to do like a true kind of best of episode where we show all kinds of clips and review the whole year and really just talk about 2015 in great depth. So it's going to be a fun video, but it's a lot of work. And so right now, I just want to take kind of a break from editing and do a fun gameplay review, and then I'll come back to this. But this video here will probably come out late Sunday, sometime on Monday. That's the plan. I still have to go through the basement and do the, walk through, and we're gonna have some Tito's and make popcorn. So it'll be a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work, but it's gonna be worth it. I really think it is. So anyway, for now, today, I thought, guys, we'd play a game, okay? Because and actually a game I've always wanted to get down here, a PCB I've always wanted to get, and the PCB is right here, okay? Here it is, guys, okay? And you're probably wondering yourself, John, what is that? So I'm gonna tell you, okay? So this is a Teddy Boy Blues, okay? And this was a game that we talked about in MAME when we did one of our MAME videos, and I've always wanted to get a Teddy Boy Blues PCB. Well, a friend of mine had one for sale, and I said, dude, I need that. And so he sent it to me, and it turned out it was a bootleg. So I bought it sight unseen. So anyway, I talked to him. He thought it was legit. It's not. We worked out a deal. I have the PCB, and here we are. Okay, so we're going to plug this in today and try it out. Yes, it's a bummer. It's a bootleg, but you know what? This is basically a clone of that SEGA board. I guess what they did was they couldn't figure out how to reverse engineer the custom chips, so they added this daughter board. But I think everything else about it is a one-to-one clone of the SEGA Teddy Boy Blues PCB. And yes, I'm bummed that I got a bootleg, but this board is really hard to find. I've been looking for a Teddy Boy Blues for years, and I thought I finally found one. And of course, bummer, it's a bootleg. But anyway, I got a good deal on it, and I don't know if it works. I haven't even tried it. I actually had to order a JAMMA adapter, and I got this right here. I got this from a guy on eBay. It's retrogames.com. It's a SEGA System 1 and 2 to JAMMA adapter. And yes, this adapter will work with the bootleg because the bootleg, again, is a one-to-one clone. Now, Teddy Boy Blues, if you guys are not aware, is a SEGA game that came out in 1985 on the arcade. It's actually based on a song. I actually printed this out. The name of the arcade version was a reference to a 1985 hit song entitled Teddy Boy Blues by then popular Japanese pop star Yoko Ishina. An instrumental version of which constantly plays in the background during the game. An animated version of Ishino also appeared on the title and during the bonus rounds. So I didn't know any of this actually, because when we played this in MAME, I had no idea that this was based on some real woman here. And you can see there she is. So we're gonna hook this up and hopefully it works. And by the way, this game also came out on the Master System and the Genesis, I believe. It came out arcade, Sega Master System, and the Sega Mega Drive. The game was ported to the Mega Drive and released on the Sega Mega Net service. Later, it was also released on the Sega Mega CD. So I don't know. It's a really weird game, but I really find it fun. So I thought we'd hook this up. So let's go over to my JAMMA cabinet, and I'll show you what's going on here. I actually already removed my Super Street Fighter board, because I had Super Street Fighter Turbo in here and Tetris, and I'm running the Mike's Arcade JAMMA switcher right there. And you can see here, I already pulled this out just to save some time here. So this is my Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And I have to tell you, this game is pissing me off because it's so hard. It is like 50 times harder than Turbo Hyper Fighting, which I had before. And it's just irritating. But anyway, so I have my JAMMA adapter on here, okay? And you can see it says on here part side, and then on the other side it says solder side. So we'll put part side to part side. You can see these are all the parts. And then this is all the solder side. And I kind of figured this out before we started the video, because it's always a challenge to get two PCBs in here, because it's pretty tight. So I think we can kind of just put it right there, and I'll screw it down. Let me get my screwdriver and a couple screws. And I really hope this board works because I want to play this game. Now the dip switches, I don't know if we can look those up because I'm wondering if this game has some kind of free play. Because I'm guessing by default it's going to be on coin play. But there is a bunch of dips there, and I wonder if those line up to the original hardware. I should look online really quick and see if I can find the dip settings. Okay, so we got that in. And then this is the Mike's Arcade JAMMA switcher. My Tetris PCB's right here. And then we're going to have our Teddy Boy Blues right there. And then this thing can switch between the two boards. This says component side, and this is the solder side. So let's put it in just like so. All right, so we're all plugged in. Let's make sure nothing's touching anything. Don't want anything to short out. So we'll just kind of quickly test it like this. Gotta find a good spot for this. Just kind of put that right there. All right, so let's turn it on. All right, so we have a red LED on the Teddy Boy Blues. Now, I didn't hear any sounds. That's not a good sign. Okay, so Tetris booted up. All right, so it usually goes boop when you turn it on. Why is there no sound? Did I bump the volume knob on this? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right, let's switch. So I think right now it's going through a boot sequence. Because I remember in MAME, I think it does a really long boot sequence. That's a good sign. There you go. It works. All right, awesome. So obviously, I don't think it has any kind of free play. Is there glitches here? Oh, man. That doesn't look right to me. So it looks like it's glitching out. I wonder if I need to reseat EEPROMs. Oh yeah, it's totally glitched. God damn it. All right, let's turn it off, and I'm just gonna kind of I'm gonna carefully just kind of push down on some of these EEPROMs. All right. Any other socketed chips? There's on this board here. Oh yeah, look at that. This is socketed. This top board. Oh yeah, it was not in all the way. All right, let's try it again. So the top board was socketed into the bottom board. Let's see if that made a difference. All right, we have to wait for it to go through its test again.
On your mark.
IC check. I don't know if that's normal. Let's let it do its thing. All right, almost done. I should grab my phone and see if I can find the dip switch settings for this. Getting my phone. Let's let it boot up here. My phone is upstairs. All right, so the boot sequence is almost done. No glitches. So far, so good. No glitches. All right. All right, let's take a look here. So this top board is socketed into the bottom board in these locations here. And then we got all kinds of socketed chips in here.
On your mark.
So I don't know if I can pull this off. I might regret this, but oh well. Okay. Okay, so there's the top board. We got all these pins here. And yes, the game is off, okay? I want to just quickly reseat all of these EEPROMs. Let me grab a screwdriver. Let's do that really quick. All right, I just brought the board over to the desk here to be a lot easier. So I'm just going to go through and just kind of casually reseat these chips. And I use a screwdriver. Yes, you can use EEPROM puller. You can use whatever you want. John uses a screwdriver. And John never has trouble with it. So let's just kind of reseat a bunch of these chips and see if we could fix this. We might get lucky. We might not. I might be calling my friend. So all I'm doing is I'm just popping these chips out. And you don't have to remove them completely, but I did.
On your mark. Get set.
So I'm just removing them and pushing them back in the same exact way I took them out, making sure no legs are bending or sticking out anywhere. So I'm gonna go through here and just pop all these chips out. And see if we can fix it by reseating stuff. And you can also just kind of push on them all too. You know, try not to flex the board. You know, this is one method here. But I could see that the legs on these EEPROMs are kind of corroded. Like look right here. Let's pull this one out. Look at this chip. See that leg right there? So, I don't know if they use some cheap EEPROMs or what. And you could try taking like an eraser to clean the legs. Let me see.
On your mark.
Sometimes I'll take light, super fine sandpaper. You can also get a fiberglass pen, which I do have somewhere. The fiberglass pens are really nice. Let me see if I can find mine. It's like literally like a little pen with like fiberglass like strands coming out of it. Like instead of like, you know, a mechanical pencil that has lead coming out, it has like strands of fiberglass, and I can't seem to find mine. But anyway, so I'm gonna keep going through here, and I'm just gonna lift up these chips and clean off the legs as needed. I might go to the garage and get some super fine sandpaper. So, you know, buying PCBs is risky. It really is. You really can't expect it to work. You know, I don't know if we're going to fix this. It could be something, it could be, you know, bad RAM, you know. Who knows what's going on. My guess, just looking at it, is something in the EEPROMs is bad. The code is not being read all the way, and we're getting the glitched out graphics, and I'm hoping that's what it is. It could be a RAM issue. It could be a bad RAM chip, you know. I'm just guessing right now, but I am going to go through here and just kind of inspect everything and lift up the chips and reseat them all. Just lifting these up a little bit here. Man, I hope this fixes it. If you do use a screwdriver, though, you got to make sure that you don't go down and dig into the board. That's like super important. Just make sure that you're staying up high with it. You know, like when you come under the socket here, I'm not going down and digging in here and ripping up the traces. You know, I'm trying to keep it as flush as I can. And I'm just kind of popping up a little bit here on each side. you could try this first instead of removing the chips completely. It's a little safer. Boy, all the legs on these look like crap. This is not a great board, guys. So I'm just gonna come through here. Oh wow, look at this one. Jesus Christ. Look how corroded these legs are. Look at that. This is a shit board. Sorry. Sorry, kids. John just swore. You gotta be careful, too, when you sand this stuff, that we don't break the legs. I'm gonna go to the garage real quick and see what I have out there. Okay, I went to the garage and got some 320 grit sandpaper. When you do this, you have to very carefully do it because if the legs are this corroded, they can be very brittle and they can break off. Like I had a board, all the legs were just so corroded. And if you just looked at them, they would fall off. So just know that the corrosion can really weaken these legs. But you can see it already looks better. And I'm just running it along the sandpaper very carefully. But it pretty much removed all of that surface corrosion. So let's go ahead and put this back in. So I don't know if this game was in moisture or just a super damp area. Let me just get this one out. This one looks bad too. Looks good. So just make sure when you put these chips back in that you don't have any legs hanging out and no bent legs. Because I've done that before. Because you know when you do the Nintendo Versus stuff, you know you're constantly messing with chips, and you know I've done it where I put the chips back in, and I don't realize that a leg is bent underneath, and you can't even see it when you look on the outside because it's on the inside. So just be as careful as you can when you do this. Yeah, these are all really bad. It's all surface though. It's coming right off like instantly as soon as I put it on that sandpaper. Man, I sure hope this fixes it. I don't like how that's going in. And then, you know, when you put the chips back in, obviously you need to make sure that you observe the polarity of the chip because the EEPROMs have a notch right here. If you're not aware, see that notch on the top? Right there? If you look on the board, you'll see that the EEPROMs in this area, all the notches are on the top. And you look on the socket, there's a notch right there. So just make sure you put it in the right way. If you remove it completely, it's got to go back in the same way you took it out. You can put it in backwards. And believe me, I've done it. It usually doesn't break anything, but anything's possible. Usually what happens, it just doesn't work. All right, so we did those three. I think I was gonna just kind of break these up a little bit. So we got the CPU down here. Just kind of lift it from both sides and resocket it. All right. I think I pretty much have reset all of these chips. There's some little socketed chips down here. Maybe we'll just kind of reseat these guys really quick too. just before we put that top board on. Now this one is tricky to get underneath. See if I can get some leverage with the chip next to it. Just kind of lifting up one side a little bit. All right. But I'm just looking at the board and like every leg on this thing is rusty. This is not a good board, guys. All right, I'm gonna put this top board back on, and we've got these pins, very similar to Nintendo Versus. We could clean these. They don't look that bad actually. So let's see how this lines up. This is gonna be a nightmare. I could just tell. This is gonna be so hard to line up. Oh my God, nah. Maybe I'll get lucky and get every single one in. Oh man, this is gonna suck. So I gotta make sure every single leg is straight. Because if I have any that are bent, it's not gonna go in. All right. Okay, that's in. That is not in. It's not even close to being in.
On your mark.
Huh.
Get set.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead here and just try to line these pins up with the sockets, and I really hope I can get this back on. This sucks. So you can see we have these pins down here, right? And I have to line them up with this and this. What a nightmare. So I'm just gonna kind of go through here and try to line everything up and put it back together. So I'm gonna go mess around with this for a few minutes and I'll be back. Okay, actually it really wasn't that bad. Once I got this one lined up, they all just kind of fell into place. So let's come on the side here and just make sure everything is in the right pins. There's nothing hanging out. That all looks good. And then over here, you can see those are all in. And then the one next to it, it's a little bit of an angle. All right. All right, let's go try this out. What do you guys think? Do you think we fixed it? What are the odds that we just fixed it? I have no idea. I think the odds are actually pretty okay. So let's see what happens. Component side. All right. Just gonna throw a couple screws in here. You know, this was supposed to be a really quick video, guys. I was supposed to take a break from editing, play a game, put up a video, you know, and then resume my editing, knowing that I had a video out, and if the year-end video was out a little bit, it would be okay. If it was out a little bit late. All right, let's see what happens here. All right, so it's booting. Hopefully we see a nice boot sequence. IC check. Does it snow? Please, 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 please. I'm crossing my fingers, guys. Not a good board. Rusty, rusty, rusty. All right, so far so good. We didn't fix it. Let me just coin up. By the way, there's something wrong with my JAMMA harness, with my JAMMA adapter. You can see that jump and fire are tied together. And I know that when I had my party, my friends were telling me that on Street Fighter, I don't know what to do right now. I'm tempted to pull the board apart again and really go through every EEPROM and clean them. And I don't know if that's even going to fix it. I don't even know if I'm wasting my time. You know, we could have a bad EEPROM too. Alright, hang on. Alright, just FYI, I took the board apart again, kind of went through and reset them again. I did miss this one completely, this EEPROM right here. So I removed this one and cleaned the legs. Did I just put that chip in backwards? I think I did. I'm looking at it, I put the chip in backwards. Dumb.
On your mark.
Unless I removed it backwards, I don't know. That's definitely in backwards. Okay, so let's just double check my work here. Everything's in the right direction. Reset the processor here, clean that up. You know, the problem, if you guys notice, it's all in the character sprites. So, you know, which one of these EEPROMs has the character sprite data and or which RAM controls that, you know? So, you know, from a layman's perspective, you can kind of figure that out, but I kind of went online and I'm not really seeing any clues in like in the MAME source or anything, so I need to just kind of dig deeper if this doesn't fix it. And I downloaded the EEPROMs from MAME, the ROM data, and it doesn't really jive with the board. So I don't really fully understand where the code is. There is some bootleg MAME ROM code out there that I don't know if it's from this board or some other bootleg board. Alright, so
On your mark.
that's all back together. Let's go try it out. I'm not hopeful that we did anything, but it's worth a shot here. I don't really have time to be doing this right now. I don't. I was supposed to be doing other stuff today. This was supposed to be a quick little video. There's a screw right here. I gotta stay away from that. Alright. That screw bothers me. Let me get a piece of electrical tape and cover that screw up. I don't like that the board is over a screw. And I've only got 3 PCB legs on there. So if the bottom were to somehow touch that screw, that would be bad. Of course, I can't find my tape. Arg. I'm just going to screw the board down just so that it can't fall onto that. I'm tempted to burn a whole new set of ROMs for this, just because all the EEPROMs are so rusty anyway. It's just that I don't know what set of ROMs to burn. Okay. Alright, let's turn it on. Let's try it again. Component side. Nothing can be easy in this hobby, guys. If you're not willing to get your hands dirty, it might be the wrong hobby. Because this stuff is so old and so clean. This is a bootleg, for God's sake. So there's no documentation. I agreed to buy it, but I'm kind of on my own here. It's an obscure game. There's hardly any documentation on the internet about it. There's all these different versions. There's the old version, the new version. There's a bootleg new version, bootleg old version. All right, please, 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 cross fingers. No, same. So we could have a bad EEPROM. I don't know, that's my gut on this. I wonder if we go into MAME and like corrupt one of the ROMs, would it look like this? Yeah, it's totally messed up. So I don't know what to do right now. I don't have time for this. So I think we're gonna stop right here. This is gonna be part number 1. I'm determined to fix this now. I really am. I just don't have time to do it today because I need to get back to to editing the best of video. What do you guys think? If you guys have some ideas for me, why don't we continue this in a part number 2, okay? But I'm gonna stop right here and let's do some viewer mail. I'm a little bummed out that didn't work. I really am. And I need to figure out what's up with that JAMMA harness of mine because 2 buttons are tied together somehow. And we isolated it to the extension cable. And it might have been like that all along. Maybe I just never had 2-button games on there. I never noticed. I don't know. All right, so let's do some viewer mail, guys. I printed out a few. Damn thing doesn't work. What I should do is pull all the EEPROMs out, and we should use my burner. That's what I really should do. Okay, pull all the EEPROMs out, compare the code on the EEPROM with the code in MAME. The problem is which version of MAME do I use? And the EEPROMs are labeled really goofy on there. Doesn't seem to match the file names in MAME. So I'm not really sure what to do. So we'll figure it out though. All right, anyway, let's move on. Viewer mail, if you guys want to participate in this, send them to me, blk@dog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com, blkdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, you have to please put viewer mail. If you don't put viewer mail, I won't find it. All right, anyway, first one here. It's from William. Hey, John, good to see you back, and I hope you had a great Christmas. I did. Did you? And by the way, I put my Pac-Man ghost up here. My wife got me this. What do you think? Is that a good place for it? I think so. That thing is great, and those are like $15 at like Bed Bath & Beyond or Marshalls, and it actually looks pretty darn good, and it changes colors. There's 2 settings, but yes, I had a great Christmas. Thanks for asking. I hope you also had a good holiday. I definitely laid low over Christmas break, and it felt great. Anyway, I've noticed that your taste has expanded in recent years beyond the Golden Age classics and into some of the later and more obscure games of the era like iRobot and Firefox. I would agree with that. What happens though is that you get all of the standards. Once you get all the Donkey Kongs and Pac-Mans and Track and Fields and Mario Brothers, if you want to keep the hobby fresh, you naturally just keep pushing to the next level. And I think that's what's kind of happening to me here, and it has happened the last year or so. Being about the same age, I'm not too into beat-em-ups and fighting games in the 90s, but I've recently gotten heavily into bullet hell shooters. I remember when they started coming out, and I would look at them and think how impossible they must be to play, but they're actually more approachable than I imagine. Recently, I've gotten into them on MAME and Dreamcast and some of the 360 releases from Cave. I've never heard you mention the genre, but was wondering if you had ever tried them out. Maybe a nice candy cab and some PCBs would be an interesting addition to the basement. Just a suggestion. Anyway, looking forward to computer space. Take care, William. Well, now you're saying bullet hell. Is that the same as shmup? So, I'm not really a shmup guy. I've got Blazing Star in here. I used to have that Ironclad Brinkerber, whatever game, that bootleg. So, I don't know. I mean, is this a bullet hell game? Probably not. I know what games you're talking about. The games that are just insanity. But, you know, I love Gradius. R-Type is okay. I like Gradius the most. But yeah, I mean, I get into these games. I know there's vertical shmups, there's horizontal shmups. The cave games are pretty hardcore. There was that one that was on the GameCube. What was that? It was the one where you could rotate your TV to play it properly, like vertically. What was that game on the GameCube? I don't know. I had that game for a short while. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really pursue them. You know, I had that R-Type game, and I didn't think it was going to last down here. I think that those kind of games are very repetitive, and there's lots of continues. That I think the continues is what kind of ruins it for me. Because what's the challenge? And just continue. I know. I guess you're supposed to play on one quarter, right? So I don't know, William, but I do agree with you that my tastes have certainly changed throughout the years collecting here. Because I am definitely pursuing the stuff that is unusual and interesting to me, because I've already done the Donkey Kongs and the Asteroids and the Mario Brothers, so that's what's left. Otherwise, you know, the hobby wouldn't evolve for me, so I have to kind of go after that stuff. This one's from Louie. Hey, John, I have a dedicated Burger Time and DK original cab with Crazy Kong board. These are my only two games. They do not have a free play option. I have been trying to contact Adam for his coin-up kit, and he never responded back. Anyway, he goes on, I've installed credit buttons on both games, but I'd rather have Adam's coin-ups instead. Thanks for the great videos, and to you and yours, have a happy and healthy new year. Lewis, I'll tell you, I let Adam know that you're looking for him. You know, Adam is, you know, this hobby for him is very secondary. You know, he's a family dude, and so he's always doing stuff with his family, and but you know, just keep contacting him. His website is onecircuit.com. I did let him know that you're looking for him, and you know, Adam makes the little coin up things that adds free play to any game. It's a little board. It's really cool. We've talked about it plenty on the videos, but check out his website, onecircuit.com, and if he doesn't respond right away, I wouldn't get too discouraged, and I would just try him again. Hey John, Happy New Year's to you. This is from Lee. This is a follow-up on the previous message I sent you a few months back regarding my Dragon's Lair replica cabinet build. I appreciate your comments and suggestions on games to run on it, along with your viewers' ideas about how to isolate games in MAME for my cabinet monitor's orientation. My question today is this. Over monitor type, I had originally gone with a 19-inch LCD. I know I can hear the groans and negative comments now. I have, however, just found an old 19-inch Catharade television with composite input that I think would work well. My question, however, is in regards to using a composite input. Not knowing how old games drove the CRT, I'm wondering if this is in keeping with how games worked back in the day, or if indeed old machines from the 80s would have been driving monitors with a VGA type signal. My concern is over losing image quality and resolution. My final thought would be that this, as this is a Dragon's Lair machine, it was actually running a laser disc. I would guess this would have used a composite video from the player to feed the tube. Your thoughts on using repurposed cathode ray tubes? Always, it's greatly appreciated. Okay, so you have a television, not an arcade monitor, okay? They're two totally different things. They work differently. Your television has composite input, which is like RCA, right? Or BNC. Arcade monitors are 15K RGB monitors. The inputs on them are RGB, ground, and sync, okay? Some of them have composite sync, not to be confused with composite signal. So basically, these are RGB 15K monitors, and that's what Dragon's Lair originally had. However, Dragon's Lair had a board on it, on the monitor, that converted BNC composite signal from the Laserdisc player to RGB 15K, okay? So, if you have a computer and you want to plug it into a television, and you're trying to get the arcade feel, I think you're going to come really close. I think, well, for one, with Dragon's Lair, you're going to be dead nuts on because it's composite. So it will be the same. But with you're going to have to get some kind of adapter. I don't know if you have a JPack or what, but if you have a television set that accepts composite and your computer is outputting what? VGA? I would imagine VGA or DVI. You're gonna have to get some sort of an adapter or device that converts the VGA to composite or the DVI to composite, and then plug that into your television set and then hope that all syncs up. So I don't really know how to answer this because let's think about this, okay? So if you just want to do Dragon's Lair, I say you're dead nuts on, but you need to get that signal in the right setting. What I would do personally, well, there's all kinds of these devices out there that converts the VGA to the RGB. If you do a search for this, convert like composite to RGB, you will find that all over the place. There's devices in China and on eBay that convert the signal types. But to answer your question, the original arcade monitor was not a composite. It was RGB 15K. 15K was the refresh rate, and RGB was the input. It had red, green, blue, ground, and sync. Those were the inputs, okay? It had 5 inputs. Not like composite, which is like a single RCA or BNC plug, which I think just has 2 signal wires in it, right? The one on the out and the one in the in. I don't know. So I'm not sure I'm helping you here. I'm trying to understand what it is you really want to do. You basically want to hook up a computer to a television set. Is that what I'm understanding? So you need some sort of a VGA to composite adapter. That's what you need. You need to convert your computer to composite if you want to use that television set. And I would imagine that is something that's very common out there. But if you want to get the true arcade feel, you're going to have to get a 15K arcade monitor and then use arcade VGA or the Soft 15 driver. And I don't know how the composite computer to composite's going to look. Is that going to look just like the arcade? I don't really know. It's not the exact same thing. Anyway, guys, did you like this video? Nothing happened. we didn't fix it. But you know what? This is part 1. We could just stop here and say it's part 1. Therefore, we don't have to finish it in this video. So I'm calling this part 1. We will revisit the Teddy Boy Blues. If you guys got some ideas for me, or if you know which EEPROM I should be focusing on, I just have a hunch here it's a bad EEPROM. I don't know for certain. I'm guessing. Could be a bad socket, you know. It could be anything. Could be bad RAM. So if you guys have any ideas for me on the Teddy Boy Blues, I'd love to hear them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, I'm going to get this video out here on Saturday. And then tomorrow, Sunday, you know, I wanted to do a lot more videos during the New Year's break, and obviously I didn't. It's weird how time just flew. You know, all of a sudden it's Saturday. I have to go back to work on Monday. But I was trying to get as many videos out as possible, so I was hoping that, you know, this Saturday video would be a nice little bonus, along with the Sunday video, which will come out tomorrow, or Monday, which will be our year-end review. So anyway, hope you guys liked it. Tell me what you thought. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, and other than that, guys, we're done. I'll see you very soon. Be sure to subscribe, tell your friends. Be sure to check out my other YouTube channel, which is called John Sucks at Video Games, which is youtube.com/John Sucks at Video Games. And of course, my 2 podcasts, Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com and Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com. All right, guys, I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Later, and bye.